Hello students, welcome back to my channel Mind Your Exam. In this video, we will be studying about the built-in functions that are present in Python for manipulating the contents of the list or for changing the contents of the list. Okay, so the first operation is the built-in function is the length function. We have studied about the length function in our previous video also. This particular function returns the length of the list which is passed to it as an argument. Okay, so if you want to use this function, if you must have a list. In this case, we have a list named list1, and when you apply this function, you will pass the name of the list as a argument. So length of list1 will give you the value of the length of that list. Since this list has 5 elements, it has length 5, so the return value is 5. Okay, the next function is the list function itself. So this function will create an empty list if you have not passed any argument in it. Otherwise, if you have passed an argument, it will create a list, a new list with the elements that you have passed as an argument. So we will see both the examples. Firstly, if you want to create a new list, you specify the name of the list that you want to create on the left hand side of the assignment operator, and then you specify this particular function, the built-in function list, and you specify the round brackets. Now, since in this case no argument has been passed, so an empty list will be created, and when you print this list, you will get empty brackets. Okay. Now, the second case is you pass some argument in the list function. In this case, we are passing the string str1 which has the string AEIOU. Now, when you do so, the list that you are creating, in this case, the name of the list is list1. This new list will have elements of this particular string. So since string is also a sequenced data type, so each element of this particular string, each character will become one element of the new list. Okay, so keep this in mind that when you are using this particular built-in function list and you specify a string as an argument, then each of the characters, each of the contents of that string, whether it's a character, whether it's an integer or any data type, each value will become one independent element of the new list. Okay. Now coming to the third the built-in function of the list, which is the append function. So the append function takes some argument and it then appends that particular argument as an element at the end of the list. So if you have an existing list, say list1, and you call the append function on this list by using dot append, and in the argument you specify an element, say 50. So this particular list, which is list1, will now be changed and it will contain one new element at the end, which is the element that you passed as an argument, that is 50. Now if you call the append function with the list itself, now in this case you have to be very careful that this particular list which is passed as an argument will be appended as a single element of the list that has been specified on the left hand side of the dot operator. That means in this case, list1 will have a new element which is the list containing two elements 50 and 60. Okay, it will not add two different elements. It is adding the complete list as one single element at the end of the list named list1. Now, if you want that both these elements should be added as separate elements, then you should use the extend function. The extend function appends each element of the list that is passed as an argument. So in the extend function, you need to pass a list as an argument, and each element that is present in this list will be appended as individual element. So the original list was 10, 20, 30. The list that you passed as an argument is 40 and 50. It contains two elements. And when you call the extend function on list1, the newly the new values of this list 1, the same list will be changed, and the values it will contain will be 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Okay, so this is the difference between append and extend. The next built-in function is the insert function. So as the name suggests, insert function will insert an element in the list, in the existing list, at the index position that you have specified as the argument. So in this case, when you have an existing list, list 1, and you call the insert function on this list, you specify two arguments. The first is the index where you want to insert the new element, and the second argument is the new element itself. So the original list containing elements 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 will now be changed to the list 10, 20, 25, 30, 40 and 50, because the index 2, which originally had the value 30, will now have the value 25, and all those elements will be shifted one place to the right. Okay. Similarly, if you call the list with the insert function on 0, 5, then this element 5 will be inserted at the 0th index. That means at the first position in the list. Now the next function is the count function. The count function returns how many times a particular element appears in the list. So it counts the number of times the element which is passed as an argument to this function appears in the particular list. So when you call the count function on a list, it will count the occurrences of this element. Now if you have a list L1 which contains 10, 20, 30, 10, 40, 10. That means 10 is occurring 3 times, and you call the count function with an argument 10. So this the return value of this function will be 3, which means that 10 is occurring 3 times. Similarly, if you pass a value which is not present in the list, that means if you pass a value like 90, which is not a part of this list, you will get the value 0 as shown here. Okay. The next is the index built-in function. So the index function returns the index value of the element that has been specified as an argument. So if the element that has been specified in the argument is occurring more than once, then this particular function will return that index value where this element is occurring for the first time. So it returns the index of the first occurrence of the element in the list. And if the element that is specified as an argument is not at all present in the list, the value error will be generated. So in this list containing the elements 10, 20, 30, 20, 40, 10, if you want to apply the index function and find out at what index value 20 is present, then you make this call list1 dot index 20, and the return value should be 1 because 20 is occurring for the first time at index value 1. Okay. Now if you specify a value element that is not at all present in this list, then a value error will be generated as shown here. Okay. The next built-in function of Python list is remove function. Remove function will remove the element that you have passed as an argument, and if the element which is specified as an argument is present more than once, then only it will be removed from that position where it is occurring for the very first time, not from all the locations. Okay, so if from this particular list we remove the element 30 by calling the remove built-in function, the new value of this list 1 will be 10, 20, 40, 50 and 30. So 30 will be removed from the first index where it was occurring, which is the index value of 2. Okay, so and keep in mind these built-in functions are changing or mutating the existing value of the list. Okay, so the list is the same, it will now have new values depending upon the functions that you have called. And if you try to remove an element that is not present in the list, a value error will be thrown. Now, when you want to pop out an element, generally the function pop is used in the case of stacks, where you want to pop out the last element. So if you call the pop function from a list without specifying any argument, it will give you as a return value the last element that was present in the list. So in this case 60 will be returned. Okay, and if you specify a particular index from which you want to pop, then this particular function will return you the element that is present at this particular index value. So the element present at index value 3 in this case is 40, and that is why the pop function returned the value 40. Okay. Moving on to the next built-in function for Python lists is reverse function. Okay, so one important thing to mention here with the pop function is that once you pop out an element, the list will no longer contain that particular element. So once you have popped out 60, the list elements will no longer contain the value 60. Okay, it has been removed as well as the removed element is returned. Alright. Now, the next built-in function is reverse function. So, this particular function will reverse the order in which the elements of the list are present. So, if this is a particular list starting from 34 to 99, when you call the reverse function, it will not take any argument. So, when you call this particular function on this list, now the contents of the list will begin from the end and go till the first. So 99, which was the last element, becomes the first element, then 28 and so on till 34, which was initially the first element and now it has become the last element. Now similarly, the list, if it contains strings, since alphabetically okay, so here we are just reversing, changing the position of the strings that are present in the list. So if this is our list, then the reverse of this list would have the string dog in the first place and so on till the string tiger, which will now, after reversing, be at the last position in the string. Now coming to sorting. So here is what I was trying to mention is that if you try to sort strings that are present in a list, then those will be sorted based on their ASCII values. Okay, so if you have this list name having strings, say tiger, zebra, lion, cat, elephant and dog, and you sort this, they will be sorted depending upon which character, which alphabet appears first according and has a lesser ASCII value and so on. So the arrangement would be cat, then dog, then elephant, lion, tiger and zebra. Okay, because cat has a lower ASCII value, it appears first in the alphabets, and zebra, Z, appears last. And same holds for integers. Now there is an option of specifying one argument in the sort function. You can also sort in a reverse order, that means in the descending order. If you do not specify any argument, the default setting is to reverse in the is to sort in the ascending order. But if you pass an argument to the sort function that reverse is equal to true, then the sorting will be done in the descending order, like in this case where the list has been sorted from the highest element to the lowest element. Then the next built-in function is sorted. Now it takes a list as a parameter and this will create a new list, and the new list will contain the elements of the old list in the sorted order. So this particular function will not modify the existing list. Okay, it will create a new list and then in the new list all the elements will be present in the sorted order. And the last three built-in functions are min, max and sum. Min will return the minimum value present in the list, max will return the highest value present in the list, and sum will return the sum of all the elements present in the list. Okay, so that's all for today. That was all the built-in functions. I hope you have understood the functionality of all of them. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any doubts or you want to study a specific topic of computer science or Python topic, please let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Till we meet in the next video. Mind your exam.